and then put it somewhere. Oh, am I muted? Oh, my speakers are muted. Hi, Jody. Can you guys hear me? Now, can you hear me? Oh, now is my internet wonky? Nikki, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. iPhone says I am getting ready. iPhone, do you mind sharing who you are? Yeah, I can hear you, Nikki.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Hi, Jody Lynn. Maybe her internet, or maybe it's mine. Damn, I hope it's not mine.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Nice to see you. I don't know. A little bit worried that my internet is funky.
Oh, thank you.
Troy, I'm back. Oh no, that's a different one. Yeah, I'm getting ready. Internet is a bit spotty. That's from iPhone. Oh, I still don't know who that is.
I think mine's fine.
Good. Okay. So I really only have a very small amount of time. I have to go to Fruitvale and run the scorecard for my kids' hockey tournament, which is probably a good thing anyways. It'll keep me on point. So thanks for showing up. The internet's bad, isn't it? I'm gonna move.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move. It helps. Good morning, Pauline. God, no.
Hi, Colleen.
God, it's so hot in the house and I'm dressed for the rink.
Grace body.
How is it now? Still shit.
I heard you say, how is it now? Your video is frozen.
Yeah.
Jody, you have to pay your bill.
But it was Christmas time. We can't do those things.
That's not a priority. Oh my God, I bet you everybody pays their internet bill first. What would we do without it?
That's what I threaten the kids with. Do your chores or I'm not paying that
Yeah.
internet.
Works immediately. Yeah. Wi-Fi is our friend.
Yeah, they can't even imagine a world without it. Hey, am I better? Am I
Yeah, I think you are.
Okay, so as you guys know, I've been doing ice dips and now a 72-hour fast, which it ended up being a 70-hour fast. I couldn't take it anymore and I ate 2 hours early. But it was good anyways. I did it.
Okay, good. I'm glad you are human.
Yeah. For some reason, the night that I started the fast, I can't remember why now, but I ended up eating really late. I think we were out skiing. So then the fast started at 8:30 at night. And so last night at 8:30, it would have ended at 72 hours. And I just didn't want to eat at 8:30 and go to bed with a full stomach. So I was like, fuck it. I'm eating at 6:30 and I did it. I don't care. And also I needed to. I felt like it was time to eat. So anywho. So as you guys know, I've been sort of doing some different things, and one of the what started it, I guess, is that back in the summer I did a certification for the emotion code training, emotion code certification. And the practice of learning how to do that and the information and the understanding that I got from Dr. Bradley Nelson's book, The Emotion Code, has really amplified changes for me and taken me not really in different directions, but has really deepened my understanding of what it is that we do in UYBS and what is the practice that helps to keep people healthy. And I know when I post pictures of me dipping and information and things about me fasting, immediately people's brains think it's dipping and fasting. Those must be healthy activities. Those must be things I've got to do. And that's really not, those are healthy things, but that's really not why I can get into the water or choose to do a fast, or why I even started to eat differently and lift weights. Those seem like those are the healthy activities. But what I'm doing simultaneously is I'm meditating every single day with the intention of being present for whatever is in the now. And often in the now, I have feelings. Big surprise, right? I have feelings. Actually, that is kind of a surprise to me because I'm the type of person who really lived ahead of her feelings all the time. I would rather craft my life in a way that I didn't have to feel disappointed, or I didn't have to feel humiliated, or I didn't have to feel like a failure, or I didn't have to feel wrong, or I didn't have to feel. And I am blessed with a pretty wonderful childhood. So there was a lot of feelings that I just didn't have to feel, right? I wasn't the kid that was put into a bunch of situations where there was bigger and scarier and more sort of would feel life threatening, especially to a kid, kind of experiences happening for me. So that's just not part of my story. But like all humans, regardless of your history or how you grew up, feelings are just a natural part of life. And so learning to be present and feel has been the change that has created a lot of external changes in my world. And the cold dip and the fast, those are, in my opinion, and they wouldn't be for somebody who lives a lot more extreme than I do, or for someone that's, in an unfortunate situation where 72-hour fasts aren't voluntary. Must, anyway, it's just a whole different ballgame. But hunger, for example, and being cold are really uncomfortable experiences. Voluntarily doing that, especially. And so personally, so let me back up. Emotion code training really helped me deepen an understanding of what a person is doing when they're choosing to allow their body to live its healthiest life. And what takes us away from health is when we avoid emotions and we avoid feelings and we avoid our own thoughts and we don't let our body be itself and experience the emotions that are either happening in the now or they need to happen in the now because they've been suppressed from past traumas, past experiences, past anything. So when I took that training, I had to do emotion code sessions on myself where you tap into your subconscious so you can feel subtle differences in your muscle tone. And that's really all it is. It's not clairvoyant at all. I'm not like talking to energy. I'm just asking the subconscious yes and no questions and then picking up subtle changes in my musculature, very, very subtle. So it just takes practice, like just regular old practice, like learning how to play the piano with a lighter touch would be very similar. But I had to do sessions on myself and with a admittedly really skeptical attitude of like, this seems insane. And for the biggest thing when I was practicing is that, of course, I can just manually make my fingers not let my other finger slide through, and I can also just let it go through. So I can consciously control it. And it was a very big exercise and a huge learning practice for me to learn to trust, to learn to trust. And that, in a nutshell, is one of the biggest barriers that we have, that clients and myself have, in learning to let their life unfold for them and start doing things with their time that actually work really well for them specifically. So I was doing this emotion code training, doing sessions on myself, feeling extremely unsure that they would be useful at all. And but did them anyways to kind of tick the box of what I needed to do to certify. And to my surprise, I started to be very different in situations that had been repetitive for me in my life, like being able to speak up, like that throat chakra, if anyone's familiar with that, when I feel unheard, when I feel like I've got you guys know I have a lot to say. And when I feel like it matters, but I don't feel safe to speak, I've never been able to crest that. I just don't speak. I just don't. It's hard to imagine, but I feel safe always here in this container. Believe it or not, there's times when I don't. So a circumstance like that came up and I just spoke clearly, not aggressively, because that's usually what would happen if I can't speak, but I feel so passionate that I have to. Eventually I will, but it's usually with an angry tone. Like I have to yell it, or I'm like, by that, I have to get myself to a place where I'm so mad that I'll speak up. Right. That wasn't the case at all. I just calmly was able to speak, knowing that it might be received like with criticism or hurt feelings or something like that. But I was just able to speak, and I was so surprised. Like I was like, what happened just right there? Why am I different? I ran back to I wasn't paying a lot of attention to what emotions I was finding in the emotion code and swiping out because I thought it was kind of all crap. But I recorded it. And so I went back to see, and I was like, holy smokes, I wish I had a better detail to share right now, but it was really clear that the emotions that used to grip me in those moments just weren't there anymore. And so you can imagine once I had that, yeah, thank you. You can imagine once I had that intellectual connection between the practice and the result, I was pretty invested. Now, emotion code sessions, I like to say when I work with a client and do the emotion code, it's kind of like you're going to the dentist to get a really good cleaning on your teeth, but you can't really go to the dentist every day. Nobody does that. Nobody, instead of brushing their teeth in the morning, they book a hygiene appointment every day for the rest of their life. You don't really need that, right? However, every time you go get your teeth cleaned, they expect that you're doing the maintenance in between. So it's that maintenance that is everybody has access to emotion code too, as long as you're willing to go through the practice and take the time. But it's the brushing the teeth in between. And so that brings me to the practices that took me into ice dunking, or whatever you call it, and fasting. Before I just keep on keeping on, do you guys want to say anything so far about what you've heard? A lot of you guys have heard a lot of this, but is there any questions? Anything? Good.
Yeah, what made you trust? I guess you had to have you had to have that what is it you had to witness that that actually I guess how you felt is.
So I really believed what I read in the book, right? I believed that it was possible. Nothing about communicating with the subconscious through muscle testing sounded hokey to me. That just was very easy for me to believe in. So I believed that it worked, and I went into it very confident. Like I just chose it. I don't remember how it wasn't cheap to certify, and I just pulled the trigger on it. And I do that, so where does this story start? I'm not sure, because doing the emotion code certification was a very felt decision, right? I just knew right away. I just knew that I needed to do it. I wanted to do it. So,
yeah. So you started listening to your feelings, or being aware of
I
them.
had started doing that a long time ago, right? Like I had started
Right.
when I started to
Yeah.
do IBS, really. Yeah. So I was attracted to the emotion code because I have watched with certain clients, they don't seem to be able to move their emotions. It's like there's too much now. Like I said, I have been
Right.
blessed with a pretty, I would say, cush life, really. Like I've had some harder things happen, but I just feel like it's not a lot of people have gone through a lot more. And I think the earlier in life that traumas happen, the more challenging it is for somebody to connect into their chakras and trust and just let emotions go through them. It's possible. I would, Nikki is a really, really good example of somebody who has done the work, right? And like really consistently stayed in the toothbrushing practice, like hardcore, and allowed really big feelings to finally release from her. Nikki, is that fair?
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Obviously, my ego says, "Oh, you have so much more to do," and
Oh, nice cat.
it's like a, never-ending box of tissues. It's gonna just keep coming, but that's okay. I welcome that. Okay,
Amazing.
understand that you feel that you have this big mountain to climb or this big elephant to eat.
Oh,
But yeah, it is fair. I feel blessed that for most of my life experience, everything that we are pulling apart here has always, have been there. These little whispers of, this is really not what you think it is, and you're this.
amazing. Amazing. Uh, amazing.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So in your trusting is sharing that, right? Like your whole experience, like, because I've always said you walk the walk, you talk
Right.
the talk. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So intellectually, I really believe that I understand sort of the mechanism that takes somebody from unwell to healthy. Understanding it isn't enough because it's the doing of it that actually creates the change.
Yes.
So I do it on myself as much as I possibly can. And I look for ways to give myself circumstances to practice it even more, right? Like it excites me. That's so
Yeah.
where the cold plunges and the fasting is coming from, right? That it's like, I used to talk about cold showers. Surprisingly, cold showers I find a lot more challenging to put myself in. I just don't like it. So even though I'm interested in walking the walk, I'm also part of walking the walk is everybody has a unique path. And it doesn't serve you to force yourself to do things that aren't in line with you. And inside of that whole concept, trust for your inner guidance is the most important thing. It's the most important thing. You'll never be brought to something that you can't handle. And so the reason that I wanted to, in hindsight, it became clear to me that the emotion code was a practical tool that I could use to help clients move traumas and emotions that were deep and getting in the way of them being able to do the sort of simpler practices of teeth brushing and the daily practice of simply sitting still and meditating. Like I like to point brand new people to the 20-minute compassionate body scan because it's usually a brand new thing for somebody to do, and it's genuinely the most powerful thing that somebody can give themselves. 20 minutes. A compassionate body scan is 20 minutes of a person observing their body from as their soul. So when you're doing that, you're giving your body, like, just imagine for a moment, you let your body lay down and maybe it's not feeling very good, maybe it's tired, maybe it's depressed, maybe it's anxious, maybe it's worried about money. Maybe it doesn't feel like it did a good job parenting yesterday. Maybe it just got in a fight. Maybe it's got a lot going. Maybe it's in physical pain. Maybe it has a cold. Maybe it's got cancer. Maybe it has arthritis, whatever. Lay it down on the bed and let it have all of its worries, its pains, its fears. Just let it be kind of shitty for just 20 minutes. Just leave it alone. Just look at it and ask it, how do you feel? Just look, just let it tell you, oh, I feel scared. I feel alone. I feel like this is a waste of time. I feel so that practice of letting yourself feel whatever you're feeling and observing it with a now observing it when you're observing from your soul, you just will genuinely bring love to whatever the body is feeling. You'll know the difference. If you're looking at your body from your body, you'll be analyzing every single thing it shows you. You'll be like, oh yeah, I know why that shoulder's sore. That's from skiing. Or I know why you're worried. It's because I know exactly how much is in the bank account. And so that's looking at the body from the body. And you want to get further back and look at the body from the soul. And when you do that, and if you can maintain that for even a minute, that would be incredible levels of healing will happen. But if you can do it for 20 minutes and really move into where your body just is kind of surrendered, it's very relaxed despite all the worries and the pain and all of that's allowed to be there. But you aren't talking to it or analyzing it or trying to fix it. You're just letting it be there. You'll know then that you're looking at it from your soul. And there's immense levels of healing in that. Your soul can reorganize and release it can do the emotion code all by itself, believe it or not. It does not need a practitioner going and asking questions and rubbing magnets. You are equipped with a soul that can release all of that yourself. So I have 1 minute and 44 seconds before I have to click off. So I guess I wanted to explain that because I've been in the practice for, I would say consistently for 4 years and inconsistently for probably a decade or more before that, in trying to understand how to be healthy and how to find health. The story's long and I don't need to get into it, but at this point, I've let go of a lot of emotional crap. It's fun now to face scary things. And so the cold plunges and the fasts they feel interesting to me. That's why I do them. That's first, it's an inner guidance. I feel interested in them. And then I'm delighted with the health benefits that people tell me about or that I find out about after. Right. And that's a weird way to live. Right. It's a different way. It's a reverse for me. I used to have to be a big know-it-all and then I would try something. And now I don't even think physically the 72-hour fast this time was very good for me. I don't think it was. But I felt really called to do it. And so I just trusted that and did it. And good results and like everything working out, that's not always the reason that we're called to do something. There's other things to learn. And yeah, I was kind of expecting that maybe some sort of emotional like Heidi trap door would open and I'd get to release something I didn't even know was there. And I'm not saying that won't happen, but it didn't. I was like kind of looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. But the fast was really kind of uneventful and it just was what it was. This is a bodysuit comment, but I did lose 9 pounds, so that's fun. I doubt it will all stay off, but I'm, bodysuit wise, I gained some weight over Christmas and I knew how to solve that. So we're riding the balance between being guided by this old programming where we think we have to know the answers and we got to figure out what to do next, and learning to be trusting of a higher power, a divine guidance, and learning how to surrender and let yourself be called to do things, even if you don't understand why. Even if your intellect tells you right away, that's going to be so uncomfortable. I don't want to. right? And learning how to feel the difference between your body screaming it doesn't want to, and your soul saying, come on, you're gonna love it. I just, yeah, you guys already know. I could just really, every sentence I say, I think of about 10 more that I want to talk about, but I gotta go do the scorecard. And so I would love some takeaways or some, what have you heard, but really, really quick. So Jody Lynn, what,
Yeah, and it's interesting because as soon as I started hearing you talking about the emotional coding, I
mhm,
don't have huge traumas. I don't have, like I had a cushy childhood as well. And there's nothing that like really stands out as to like where I'm blocked, but I just feel like there's got to be something.
hmm,
And so I've been very curious about it the whole time.
yeah,
And yeah, so it's interesting that you just feel like there's going to be a release somewhere, but there's nothing huge in my life that I need to release that I think, but I
and
don't know.
when I was doing it on myself, like I said, it was so uninteresting to me, the things that came up that I just didn't even, but then when I was different in situations,
Yeah.
I was like, what? And now I've done, I don't know, lots, maybe hundreds, not quite, definitely dozens and dozens of emotion code sessions with people. And
Mhm.
there's lots of times that it's like, whoa, like it's a memory comes forward and they're like, holy shit, I can't look, of course, those are kind of more exciting. But
Mhm.
most of the time it's pretty inert. Like people are like, oh, well, I don't remember. It's like frustration age 12. I don't know, right? And what that has helped me understand is that I believe that most humans trap emotions as a habit. Like it's just not, it doesn't make any sense to feel a feeling. It's never convenient. They don't feel pleasant. So we are more often trapping emotions just out of habit and out of example. That's what we see other people doing with their emotions. That's what you do with them.
Mhm.
And so I don't know, maybe frustration age 12 was because your teacher said you got to leave early today, but then she forgot and didn't. And so you felt frustrated. And so it's really small, it's not a trauma,
Yeah.
but you would trap it. And any trapped emotions are not serving. So the practice has really fun elements to it. Anyways, I really can't keep going, but you should book an intro session and we'll
Mhm.
be together and you'll
Yeah.
get to hear more of how it works. It's fascinating. The emotion code sessions are
Yeah.
they almost trumped UIBS where I was like, I'm just gonna do this instead. But it's that
So
I would rather teach people to fish, because like they gotta do it on a daily basis.
love
Yeah.
it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Anything
Yeah.
else, ladies? Colleen?
I know I had one with you, and it it's so freeing
Mhm.
because you do forget. Like I was one of those, like something at 12 and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Because I too, I didn't have I had more, trauma in my adulthood life than
Right.
childhood
Yeah.
life. Yeah. So
Uh,
um
sorry about that.
I just remember how freeing it was, and I think it's giving it to myself that you've really taught me how to recognize my awareness of my feelings, and then giving it to myself, like really giving it to myself, like, oh, what is that? Like, okay, and the trust. That's why I asked that question.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to say when you said you're one of those people that forgets, and it just kind of like reminded me, it's a book I've been listening to lately. Your body forgets, but your subconscious, the trapped energy and your soul does not forget. That's what, and if you listen to Dr. Bradley's book, that was the clue that brought him to like this entire development of this practice, is that the subconscious, aka soul, it's in every cell of your body, and in the entire, it is the energetic component of your existence as well. So although you can't remember consciously what happened at 12, your energetic body knows. And that's what makes it so powerful. And that was his like he was like, gee, if we could only learn how to communicate with this part of a person that knows exactly what's going on a cellular level and on an energetic level.
Mhm.
So when clients, when it's like, oh, I have no idea what that is, we can very quickly move on, because I recognize it does not matter at all what you consciously remember. Yeah, so it's cool, right? Like you can just surrender.
Yeah.
The other
Yeah.
beautiful thing, I'm the one that did the work of feeling the muscles, and
Yeah.
that wasn't that hard, if I'm honest. But the client, all they have to do is show up, and that's it. And if so, I have to ask permission, right? Do I have permission to connect to their subconscious? And so far, it's always said yes, but it can say no. Actually, one time with my son, he was pissed at me and I tried to do an emotion code session on him. And it wouldn't let me. He thought that was awesome. But, when somebody's showing up, there's a real, like, if they're going to bother to be there
Yeah.
into it, right? So, it's like the most practical get out of your own way practice that I've seen. Like you can't even, if you show up, you've gotten out of the way. Now a lot of,
That reminds me, I want a book appointment.
yeah, I think I give you 3 of them. Yeah, get in there. Anything for you, Nikki?
Not particularly. I was just thinking of the book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh yeah.
I have not read the book. I have the book. Yeah, this is the, I don't know if I should say the answer, but it just feels pretty solid to me. And I'm now in a constant practice of checking in, feeling, allowing, welcoming,
Girl.
and we'll just see how it unfolds.
Absolutely.
But I feel solid that I'm on the right track. We talk about this all the time, and I was going the other way for so long.
Yeah.
And now it's just going, turning the car around and going in here.
Yeah. I think we touched on this yesterday. I know we did, and it rattled around with me all day. You're ready, I think, because it's coming up pretty consistently, but you're ready to change your dialogue about how your life has been. You have not been going in the wrong direction. How could you be here? Right?
Okay.
So once you embrace, because there's a gift, it's not a strong enough word. There's like your unique abilities have been, it's like there's been seeds being planted throughout this entire experience of not feeling like you belong. Right? So you're having little moments, I think, where you're like, oh, it's recorded, and maybe we should go back and find it on one of them, because there was a day where I was more articulate and able to really, really sort of like open your wings up and help you understand that you're a big deal. And what you've lived through has been a big training process. Right? So but there's an old pattern that says, oh, poor me. Not really, you're not really poor meing me anymore, but there's like a bit of
Yeah, there's this residual heaviness.
Yeah, that's it.
This experience to me is so dense and heavy.
Yeah. So we're gonna put some buoyancy in that, and I'll keep trying to catch you on it. Okay, iPhone says a couple of times the release allowed me to surrender and let go of a muddle, and then could do the daily habits effectively. Amazing. Amazing. So I don't know who iPhone is. It might be Shannon. And if it is, she's done some emotion code sessions, quite a few actually. She was one that popped up really, really quickly in my volunteer requests, which was awesome. So if that's what she's talking about, she's, yeah, like what I hear in that is that the emotion code sessions are effective and you really don't get to control them, which is, I think, what helps make them really effective. You really, it's not, and I don't get to control them either. That's what I love about it. Like when somebody books an emotion code session, it's not the same as a one-to-one, because with the one-to-one, I feel like I have to know what to say. But in an emotion code session, I don't know, we're asking a higher power. And so we both get to just, they're really fun because they're like, there's no pressure on either one of us, which is awesome. Yeah. Okay, ladies. Thank you so much for showing up. Sorry for the abrupt, but whatever, you can have your Saturdays. And if you thought we were going to be on till 8, do a meditation until then, because you have the time. Love you all. Have a great weekend. See you later.